Good morning. So, the Me Too movement is backfiring, and it's backfiring on women. Rose McGowan, who kind of started this Me Too movement against Harvey Weinstein, is now hating on Meryl Streep, the goddess of Hollywood. Meryl Streep is probably the most honest, the person with the most integrity, the best actress of our generation, possibly of any generation. And Rose McGowan is calling her out because Meryl Streep was not sexually harassed or sexually assaulted by Harvey Weinstein. And therefore, Meryl Streep, because she has integrity, refuses to say that she was, because she wasn't. And that bothers Rose McGowan. Now, let's remember, Rose McGowan, first of all, I don't hate on Rose McGowan. I liked her on Charmed. She was fine. Miss Dory, but that's okay. But Rose McGowan was harassed and assaulted by Harvey Weinstein 20-something years ago. And she took money to keep her mouth shut. Now, we know what we call women who take money for sex. We call them prostitutes. It's illegal in some states, most states, except Nevada. So for Rose McGowan to turn on Meryl Streep, because Meryl Streep says, you know what? Harvey Weinstein didn't do anything to me. So therefore, I'm not going to say he did just to join your Me Too movement. Rose McGowan now calls Meryl Streep some kind of a traitor to the movement. Meryl Streep has made it very clear that she supports any woman who was sexually harassed. She just happens to be one of the lucky ones that wasn't. And unlike some women who have joined this bandwagon simply to get their names in the news or get on Megyn Kelly today, Meryl Streep says it didn't happen to me and I'm not going to say that it did. Period. And for that, she's getting hate mail and hate tweets from Rose McGowan. A woman who took money 20 years ago to keep her mouth shut and allow Harvey Weinstein to continue to harass and molest and possibly rape women in the future. Women that Rose McGowan now says she speaks for. Interesting, isn't it? I want to talk about Dustin Hoffman. His reputation is being destroyed by 3 women who were on Entertainment Tonight the other night talking about things that he did in the last century. Now let's be clear about this. In the year 2000, we went from the 20th century to the 21st century. I know Donald Trump gets that confused, but I know it. We are in the 21st century. 1980 was the 20th century. 1880 was the 19th century. That's how it works. So these 3 women come out and they say that Dustin Hoffman exposed himself, no rape, no nothing, but they are vilifying this man, this Oscar winner, who has lived his life decently for the last 30 years. And they are going back to the last century in 1980 that he was rude to them. He was a bully. He exposed himself to them. He told racially or sexually snarky jokes. Okay, it was 1980. Any of you out there look in your mirror and see your 1980 self? Are you the same person you were 40 years ago? I was 16 years old in 1980. I know I'm not that person anymore. I know that for a fact. I'm not the same person I was in 1990. I'm not the same person today that I was last year. At least I hope not. Because I like to think that I evolve. And I hope that I get better. But I certainly wouldn't want to have to now, today, at age 53, answer for something I did when I was 20 years old, even 30 years old. Now, of course, the statute of limitations on all that shit has already run out, so don't even try it. You know what I'm talking about. But the bottom line is, none of us, hopefully, are the same people we were 40 years ago, no matter what your age. And I do think there should be a statute of limitations on even accusing somebody of, oh, he showed me his penis, or, oh, he made a nasty joke, or, oh, he grabbed my ass, or grabbed my pussy, or did whatever. There should be a statute of limitations, because I don't think it is fair to hold somebody to the standards that they lived by 40 years ago, because everything was different in the last century. The last century. Things were so different in the 1980s. Megyn Kelly goes on her show and says that it is impossible for someone to have a consensual relationship with their boss. Sexual relationship. I disagree, because I had a consensual relationship with my boss when I was 19 years old. He was 42. The only problem with that relationship was that he was married. That was his only flaw, because he treated me very well. He always was respectful to me when we were in the office. And then we would go do our thing outside of work. He is the one who encouraged me to go to night school and get an accounting certificate, which actually landed me my job, where I actually was regularly sexually harassed, even though at the time I didn't realize it, because I went along with it. I laughed. I participated. It was no big deal. Again, the 90s. But that man was such an influential part of my life in a good way that I will never say a bad thing about him, other than he cheated on his wife. But he was a good man, and he treated me so well, and he respected me, and he encouraged me to be better, to get an education. He helped me study, for God's sake. It wasn't just about sex. So you can have a relationship with someone at work. Look at Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski on Morning Joe. It's his show. It's called Morning Joe. It's not called Joe and Mika. And when they started the show, they were both married to other people, and now they are engaged to each other. And everybody congratulates them. I congratulate them. No big deal. It's perfectly fine. They're adults. It's consensual. And it can happen. This new accuser against Matt Lauer, she says, I consented to have sex with him. She never said he raped her. She never said anything about that. But that because she was 24 and he was the anchor, she didn't think she could say no, but she had already landed a job in West Virginia and she was leaving the Today Show anyway. Why couldn't she say no? What could Matt Lauer have done to her? She had a job. She was leaving. All she had to do was say no. But no, what she kept doing was saying, well, Matt, thank you for telling me how hot I look today. Now, can I pick your brain about some advice on how to become better in the news business? And she knew he didn't have any interest in giving her work advice. He wanted to get in her pants, and she let him. So no, I'm sorry. Doesn't count. Mika Brzezinski actually said on Morning Joe the other day that she was at a function over the weekend where CEOs now are saying we are not going to hire women in top level positions because we're afraid. We are afraid to promote women if they have to travel with other male employees for business meetings or conferences. Because we're afraid that one wrong move by a man or one snarky comment by a man, this woman's going to come at us for a lawsuit or to get money or to ruin this man's career. So now we're not going to take women to business lunches, to business dinners. We're not going to allow women to travel out of town. And we may not even hire women. And some of the CEOs that were telling Mika this were women. They said, I can't put my good, high-earning male professionals in a situation where something can be misunderstood and a woman can ruin his life because she was too sensitive. She took something the wrong way. I always say to all of you, if I sued or accused everybody who played grab ass with me in the past 20 years, I'd be a billionaire. I'd be richer than Donald fucking sexual harasser Trump. It happens. It's not a crime. It's a bunch of drunk people getting together for a dance or getting together at a party and crap happens. People's breasts get fondled. People's asses get grabbed. Some people moon people. Some people pull their tops up and show their tits to my husband. I don't get upset. It's all in good fun. But now you got to be careful. Got to be careful. Especially in the workplace. So many people now are scaling back their Christmas parties. Did you hear about this? 2-drink minimum for each employee. Just to make sure they can't blame the alcohol. They don't want anybody getting all drunked up and, showing little Susie in accounting your penis by accident or on purpose. And then little Susie goes to Megyn Kelly. There is a war on men right now. And as a person who claims all the time I am not a feminist, I actually feel sorry for men. I told my husband, I said, you be damn careful. You go to that satellite office 2 days a week. Be careful. Be careful what you say. Make sure you zip up after you go to the bathroom. Be careful. Or else you too are going to have your life destroyed. If some woman wants to get on Megyn Kelly or on Entertainment Tonight and talk to Natalie Morales or whoever these people are. And I want you to remember again that an admitted sexual harasser is the President of the United States of America. And who's going on Entertainment Tonight? Women accusing Dustin Hoffman of making lewd jokes or exposing himself to them last century during a Broadway show. My God, I did high school theater and I could have claimed sexual harassment with the kind of jokes and the things I saw backstage. Give me a break. We are at a crossroads, people. Every single day, someone else is falling. A man, usually. A man falls because a woman, well, he touched my ass. Oh, he touched my breast. He made a joke that I didn't appreciate. And these men are losing their income, they're losing their reputation, and they're even losing their families. So you're all going to have to make up your own minds. Me personally, I don't like this anonymous accuser thing. I don't like the fact that the person who got Matt Lauer fired refuses to go on Megyn Kelly, refuses to say who she is. And I'm not even sure Matt Lauer knows. And what happened to confronting your accuser? Even rape victims have to go into court and testify in front of their rapist. Their rapist has to know who accused them of rape. But for some reason now, in this generation, in this witch hunt, you don't even have to know who is accusing you. How can you fight something if you don't know who you did what to? Think about it. Think about you get arrested and thrown in jail for committing a crime against somebody and they won't tell you who you committed the crime against. How can you even defend yourself if you don't know who you did what to? That's a problem. It is a problem that not one of these men who have been summarily fired just on the say-so of a woman, one woman, have never had their day in court, have never had a chance to hire a lawyer to vet their accuser, to have her go under oath, to have her show proof of what happened. That's a problem. We used to be a country where you were innocent until proven guilty in a court of law and judged by your peers, a jury. This sexual harassment Me Too witch hunt, there is no trial, there is no jury, and sometimes you don't even know who your accuser is. Now, do any of you out there believe that that is the American way of justice? Would any of you, men or women, would you want to walk into work today and be fired because one of your coworkers said you did something 10 years ago or a year ago or even last week, but by the way, we're not going to tell you who it is. You're just fired. You can't defend it if you don't know what you did to whom. So this is something we really have to think about in this country, because we like to say that we're sexually evolved, that we're not supposed to have government in our bedrooms, we can sleep with whoever we want, we don't have to marry them, we don't have to have their babies. But now it's getting a little weird again, where now the sex police are out in full force. And even the insinuation that someone wants to have sex with you, come on up to my hotel room for a drink, can get a man fired. I think there's a problem with that. I really do. And to all you women out there who are going to hate on me right now, go for it. Because I know there are women out there who have truly been abused by their husbands, by their boyfriends, by their bosses, by their coworkers. I know you're out there and you are telling the truth. The problem is all these other women, they're making you less likely to be believed. We see it all the time. We saw it with that Duke basketball thing in Carolina, where all those basketball players were accused of rape. And it was because they got a trial in a court of law, it was found out it was all fake. None of those young boys raped anybody. And that hurts the real victims that are out there. Like they said on Morning Joe, the nurses, the waitresses, people who work in everyday jobs who are truly being harassed, are truly being not promoted unless they sleep with the boss, have been raped, even date raped. You are less likely to be believed when every day we hear another woman come out and say, well, in the last century, Dustin Hoffman was a bully. He was making nasty sex jokes and he showed me his penis. Okay. What are we supposed to do about it? Dustin Hoffman isn't going to jail. Dustin Hoffman isn't going on trial. And these women know that. And the people who put these women on television in front of all of you know that. No one is going to jail for something they did in 1980, in the last century. So why don't we get real? Let's start prosecuting these sexual offenders, and let's start asking for proof before we start throwing men under the bus and ruining their careers and ruining their lives for something they did a lifetime ago. For something that when they look in their mirror, they won't even recognize that guy back then. Did they do it? Sure, they probably did do it. In the last century, in 1980. So if any of you would like to be held accountable today, in almost 2018, 2017, for something you did in 1980, please let me know. Let me know what you did, and I'll find the people you did it to, and we'll prosecute you right now. You can go on, they can go on Megyn Kelly. I'm sure she'd be happy to have them. But seriously, how many of you want to be held accountable today for what you did a century ago? Tomorrow's my last show of the year, not the season. The season will continue on January 2nd, right after New Year's, the start of a new year. And so I'm going to take the week off. You guys are going to be busy, so I'm going to take a week. And my husband's off next week too, so we're going to spend some time together and have a good time. But tomorrow I'm going to do my special Christmas show. Of course, it's going to be incorrect, Political Paula incorrect, because again, not a Christmas fan. But I'm also going to announce the winner of when I asked for viewers to write in and tell me their Christmas nightmares. I have a winner of the absolutely best letter for worst Christmas experience. And I'll announce that tomorrow at 10. Until then, love shows and grows. Please be honest, stand your guns, and look in your mirror and be honest with yourself and honest with everyone around you. Integrity rules. And I want to thank Meryl Streep for not joining and jumping on the Harvey Weinstein witch hunt bandwagon. Sure, he's a pig. But Meryl, I want to thank you for not lying and claiming he did it to you when he didn't. Political Paula, out. Hey Meryl, tweet me.